Hey guys, it's another glorious day in Pax Day, and it's actually a special day because it's November 14th, and that means that it's now been a month since the full release of the game. What that also means is that for people that did buy it on that first day, now is the moment where you have to decide whether you're going to subscribe or lose your plots. Maybe not lose your plots because they did actually implement the ability to buy at least one plot through grace. So it is possible that you can retain one plot even if you don't subscribe to the game. But for me, I chose last night as it came down to the wire to subscribe. And part of why I did is because I wanted to see just how many people were going to be sticking around. I mean, the game, at least in my zone, is pretty full. Just by this area that I am right now, which is pretty far from my home valley, you can see that it's pretty built up. Now, it'll be interesting to see over the coming days how many of these places stick around. If we switch to our construction hammer, you can see that a lot of the plots look like normal with the white borders, but there are some red ones mixed in there. Now, I only just noticed those this morning, and I can only assume that they mean that either those plots have a lapsed subscription or that they are in danger of having a lapsed subscription. So I did explore one of them earlier today, and I cannot interact with the materials or scavenge any of the building parts or anything like that. So they are still protected for now, but it will be interesting to see what becomes of those red plots as time goes on. So yeah, the other reason why I stuck around is because in true game developer fashion, on the day before these subscriptions were about to renew, they introduced a patch that addressed at least some people's concerns about the game functions. And we're about to demonstrate at least some of that, what was in that patch right now. As soon as I mine this copper a little bit here, because I'm on the lookout for goats. Now, goats, let's see, how are our bags doing here? I did, on the way over this area, I found a whole pile of heart wood just lying on the ground, and I just had to pick it up. Although I might just chuck that pile of one right there. That's a little silly. I am going to get rid of the clay. No, not the clay. I'm sorry. I want to keep that. I am going to get rid of the sand and clear out the bag slots just a little bit. So anyway, one of the things that this new patch addressed was the clogging of the bags for when you're fighting animals and looting them and skinning them. And it used to be the case that if you would fight a boar or a deer or even a goat, your bags would be filled up with at least like 6 or 7 different stacked items, from intestines to hooves to carcasses, sinew, all that kind of stuff. Now, one of the things that they did is they're streamlining this whole process of getting those materials so that it's not going to clog up your bags anymore. And if I could actually find some goats, that would be or boars would do too. I doubt I'm going to find any deer in this area because they don't usually stick to these lands of stone or scrub lands or whatever you want to call them. But the boars and the goats will demonstrate the new functionality well enough. I should be able to find some over in this area, I hope. Here's some wild boars. That's perfectly fine. So these are level 2, and you'll notice that they're now called wild boars. Before this patch, they were just called either a boar or an old boar or something. But now there are wild boars, and there are young boars too. The level 1s are called young boars. All right, so I just killed and looted 2 boars. Let's go up on this rock here, just hang out and look in our bags. Now, let's see. Of course, I have a lot of this, a lot of the copper that I was mining before, but look at that. We didn't really get that much. I got a couple of boar carcasses, I probably got a little bit of bone fragments, although that's not even guaranteed. And I got probably some leather from skinning them. But I didn't get intestines, I didn't get um, the animal fat or anything like that. Now, there are ways to get that, which I'll demonstrate soon. But one thing that you might not have noticed I didn't also get was animal hooves, because they've changed what you can actually loot from any given animal. So you can't get animal hooves from boars anymore. Those only drop from goats and from deer. But I feel like the drop rate of them has definitely been increased since the patch. Likewise, what was it? Sinew, which used to drop from all the animals. Now you can only get it from boar products. And you get it basically from butchering as well. Let's see. Can I find any goats? There's one in the distance. So yeah, they've been renamed to boar sinew, and you get that from butchering. Here, let's get this guy and see what we get from him. Okay, now you'll notice these are also called a lowland goat. Although, let's see, the goats are still the only thing that drop wool fiber. But one of the changes is that now goats will actually drop a carcass. Now they're not called a goat carcass, they're called a chamois carcass. And you're just going to have to live with my pronunciation of that. But so yes, goats now drop meat carcasses, and you can get goat meat products from butchering them. They did get rid of wolves. No, they didn't get rid of wolves. They got rid of wolf meat. You can still fight wolves, but you're not going to get any wolf carcasses anymore. Essentially, the goat carcasses have replaced the wolf carcasses in the butchering leveling scheme. All right, really, I'm only going to find one goat? That's kind of crazy. Usually I can find them all over in this area. I come over here to hunt them usually to get the wool fiber that only they drop. But maybe we look a little bit longer and then probably head back home, because I do also want to show you a few other things back in my neck of the woods, including an update to the housing situation in my home valley, as well as my own house updates, which there are a number of updates that I've made. But let's just stick around here a little bit longer, and maybe we'll fight a couple of guys, like humanoid enemies at least. And if we get lucky, maybe find a few more goats. Now, this new patch has brought with it a few problems. And I've noticed them myself, and I've seen in the Discord people were talking about enemies aggroing from across the zone and having different abilities. There was one that I fought earlier that had a shield up that I was doing no damage to it, so I essentially just ran away from it. But they're also doing this teleportation trick. Oh, look at those rabbits. I want to get those. If I can catch them. Duh. No, really? Okay, they disappeared entirely. Look at that. They're all the way back there. Forget it. The animals have been rubber banding around too and doing their teleportation trick, but the guys have been doing it quite a bit too, the humanoid enemies. People were talking about it being so bad that they're just going to forego fighting any humanoid enemies until the problem gets addressed. I didn't notice it as being that bad. Here, let's go over here and see. Is that a goat? Yeah, okay, that goat is there. It's right in with the humanoid enemies, but I'm going to see if I can get it without aggroing anybody. There's another goat back over there. I swear they put the goats clustered around these enemy encampments on purpose. See, there's another one. All right, so let's see if we can fight this guy and see what happens. Oh, they also changed the loot tables of the humanoid enemies too. So they're going to drop a lot less garbage. Like whenever I would fight them before, my bags would fill up instantaneously with stupid like extracts from all the different plants and stuff like that. Very rarely would I keep any of it. It would always just go chucked on the ground. Let's see. Can I get this goat without? Oh, I think I got that guy over there. Let's see. I think I got him. Yeah, here he comes. He's teleporting on over here. And am I gonna be able to kill this guy? I don't even know because I wasted my powerful special move on the goat. Okay, got him. They still drop some stuff, especially the lockets, which you need for crafting, and apparently they drop some bronze ingots now. But but yeah, it's a lot less annoying, I would say. They've also made some plants a little bit easier to see. I might not be able to demonstrate that very well because it was a select few plants that were very difficult, like strawberries. Well, strawberries I know because I did find those, and they're huge now. You can see them like across the forest. I think they were supposed to address blueberries also, but I have yet to find them. There's a goat that looks like he was like ice skating along the way here. Okay, so I think we're gonna probably head back to my house area after we get this goat, of course. Okay, so what do we got here? Bags are almost full anyway. We have 7 goat carcasses. So that'll be enough to do a demonstration, I think, of the new butchering scheme. Okay, what is this here? Is this blackberries? Yeah. I will pick up a few because my blackberry pile or stack is getting a little bit low. It's still one of the foods that I eat when I'm out fighting or hunting or exploring. Here's some limestone. Since it's just right here, I'm going to go ahead and get it. One of the things that they haven't addressed yet, and I hope that they do, although I don't know how they're going to, is mining. Because mining still just fills your bags up like crazy with all the extra gobbledygook that you get from the different ore veins. I mean, look at this. The stuff on the ground, there's aurum ore. I'm about to throw other stuff on the ground, like the sand, which I will get rid of. I'm actually going to keep... I'll throw the silver ore, too. I have stacks of that stuff at home, back at my house, at least. Okay, so we're gonna teleport back to the Petra Maya, whatever you want to call it. Let's see here. It's much too far to walk from here, even though it's essentially right down the hill here. Okay. So, what I'm hoping to find as I go the short distance back to my house is a deer or two. Because, well, I want to demonstrate what you get from deer, and we'll pick up a few carcasses from them if we can, and then um, and then we'll go back, do a little butchering, do a house tour, check out the valley, and that should be a good video, a good time to end the video. All right, so I should run into a deer in this forest over here, I think. Unless someone else has already gotten it. Let's see. Now, there's sometimes a stag in here, which stags will still drop their antlers. That's still the only way to get those. I bet you that the deer aren't here because there's someone in here chopping down some trees, and they would have almost certainly killed the deer. So, all right, no deer. I actually still have carcasses back at my house, which we're coming up to pretty soon here, just down through this valley. My house is actually right over there on the cliff, straight ahead. You can see. All right, so while we're out here in this valley below my house, let's look around and see just how built up it is. You can see that a lot of the real estate is taken by people's plots, although not everyone has built something. Here's one that doesn't have really anything in it. Here's another one that has just a couple of furnaces. There are a few of those red plots. There's one up on the mountain up there. That big castle that's down there is actually red. Since I have renewed my subscription, mine is not one of the red ones though. And here we are coming back up to it. All right, so with the sun as a backlight there, we can see that there are quite a few differences to my house. Not so much on the lower level, but definitely up above there are. Let's go ahead in and check it out. And in the meanwhile, we'll drop off some of our items here from all of these things. Okay, so not much different down here, except it's a little bit more organized. A lot of those chests that were lining the middle of the floor here have been put away, or I found better places for them. Although there's still a few to go that have some, odds and ends in there that I'm not really sure what to do with. I have started converting over from these griffin chests to the much smaller decorated chests, but that's an ongoing process. So let's see here. I'm just going to dump off a couple of items like these strawberries and maybe there's a few things that can go in here, like this locket. Can't believe I brought one. Oh wait, that's this locket. Well, I'm actually glad that I brought that one locket because those cracked ones are a little bit harder to get. Okay, so oh yeah. We can get rid of a lot of that heartwood if I have space for it in here, which, there's some. I just couldn't pass it up. I mean, I can just as easily chop trees and get it, but I mean, it was just like 300 heartwood laying on the ground. I wasn't going to pass it up. Anyway, let's go downstairs where there's really not much difference. Just a few things. I still have my tailoring and leatherworking stations down here, but I have been able to build the upper level tanning rack and the loom, which are able to make, for instance, fine leather and boiled leather, and in this case, the cotton cloth and wool cloth. I still have kept some of the lower level ones because I'm still using them to make the cotton or the linen fabrics as well. So as I get higher level, I'll probably trade out some of these simple ones for the more advanced ones. All right, so a lot of the main differences in my house are in the upper level. So let's go up here. Now the stairs going through the ceiling, not much has changed there, but check it out. We now have another floor here that is on the formerly just flat roof. I've turned it into a sort of storage warehouse for miscellaneous items that don't have a better place somewhere else, or it's just overflow from those other places. For instance, here's clay, which I do have some clay to put in there. And I mean, there's like limestone. I do have limestone put in there too. Granite, I've started mining. And other things are in here like the antlers and the animal hooves, which I should definitely put in here because other areas where I've been storing these have been filled up. I've gotten a lot of animal hooves. So this is a long storage. I haven't even used sort of half of it yet. And of course, I could stack these things up or pack them in here a little bit more if I need to. But on the other end over here, we have access to my windmill, my grain mill, I guess it's technically called, where I can do oat and wheat flour grinding. So it's up here. It's perched on the top of my house here, looking out over the valley. Pretty nice. There's a story about how I got it, which I'm sort of ashamed about at the moment, especially since one of the updates that they did in the patch. Let me just go back down so I can show you. One of the updates that they did was they they made the baking tools. They moved them a lot further down on the baking scale than they used to be. It used to be, I think, that they were impossible even now. Like at my level 13 baking, they were way up here at probably level 30 or something like that. Maybe mid 20s. But I needed those to make the oat dough and the wheat dough, which were much lower on the scale. So I went and I found finally someone that had the ability to make the baking tools, and I traded an ungodly amount of wrought iron ingots for it. Which, people will barter a lot in this game. It's essentially, when you're asking for something, people will ask, well, what are you offering? Oftentimes it's not gold because you can easily get that from the guys from fighting the humanoids. But yeah, so I gave away probably 3 whole stacks of wrought iron just to get those baking tools, and now they're easy to make. Probably less than a week later. So that's like a sore subject for me at the moment. But anyway, the stairs continue up to this next level, which I have now completely enclosed, to look fairly much like the lower level house. We have the cottage walls and the roofs, and it turns out this room is still a work in progress, but it is basically going to be my smelting room, my forge, my charcoal kiln, and armor smithing and weapon smithing, and also pottery molds, essentially. So that's the purpose of this room. I knew I wanted to have that in a centrally located spot, all sort of grouped together, and I was able to do that in here. Now it's still pretty big, but I could always add more of these furnaces or more charcoal kilns. 4 is a pretty good number for just a solo player, but I mean, I could put a few more. I could double stack them here. So yeah, I went with the cottage walls for most of it, but over here I have an accent wall, which is essentially these stone columns and a wooden lattice work, just to mix it up a little bit. Oh, right. And it does have the lighting up here, which is not really necessary during the day, but at night it keeps it well enough lit so that I can find my way around. So we're going to go up here, and I'm actually going to equip my spear because there's an annoyance up here still. The stairs continue up, and you see there's a boar up here. Sometimes he aggroes to me, and I have to fight him, or he'll like chase me down through the rest of my house. He's really just an annoyance. But anyway, the only thing up here at the moment is my huge furnace, which I really have no other place to put it. I would love to put it in that room with all the rest of the furnaces, but it's never going to fit there, or it would look stupid. It would take up the whole room. So it's probably going to stay up here. I'll probably build something up here around it. What I'm thinking of is building a sort of tower, like a lookout watchtower or something, to look over the valley from an even higher perspective. And I might design it such that this is right at the center of it or something like that. Um, Still trying to decide when I'm going to do that or how I'm going to do it. But so yeah, this level's not really um, that complete up there yet. I'll get into these moods where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna finish this level or finish that level, and I haven't quite gotten into the top level mood yet. But anyway, Let's go into one last thing I wanted to show you is um, how they've changed butchering to sort of dovetail in with how they changed the looting and skinning of the animals. All right, so we're going to go over here to my charcuterie. Actually, it's just called butchering now. What used to be all charcuterie is now been renamed just butchering. So this is the butcher's workbench here. And this is the chest where I keep all of my carcasses. I'm just going to put them in here right now. We have them tiered up here, so there's boar carcasses, deer carcasses, and this used to be wolf carcasses, but now it's the goat carcasses. All right, so let me move things down here a little bit, things that I haven't quite put away yet, and I want to just show you what happens when we now butcher some animals. So I'm going to take a few boar carcasses, I'll take the deer ones, and I'll take the goat ones. So we're going to go in here, and of course, in butchering, this hasn't changed. There's all these different jobs that we can do. We can poorly part, we can part. Later on, once I level up a little bit further, I'll well part. But all of these things basically just give you higher level types of meats. So I'm going to choose some that will level me here, but not be too low. So for the boar, let's start with deer. So if I butcher a deer carcass now, what I end up with is, of course, one less carcass, but my bags are not completely filled up with meat chunks like they were before. It used to be that I could put like a stack of carcasses in my inventory, go to this table and just get it going. And then after maybe 10 or 15 crafts, my bags would be full of stupid meat chunks that I would end up throwing away. So what they've done now is they've gotten rid of a lot of those extra things, and you're just going to get the level of meat that is commensurate with the level of the butchering that you're doing. So what I did here was a well-parted deer, and it gave me this sort of level 3 deer flank meat. Now, if I go to the parted deer and do that, this is the level 2 butchering tactic. Look at this. We get a few things more here. We get, of course, the level 2 deer neck meat. We still get meat chunks for that level, but not as many as we got before. I think you used to get like 10 of them. And we get bone fragments now from the butchering. We shouldn't be getting them anymore from the killing of the animals, at least according to the patch notes. But we get about 10 from each animal that we butcher. So here I have about 110 of them. Let's butcher one more. We'll do the well-parted one. We should get up to 120. Yep, 120 of these bone fragments. Now, bone fragments are something that I used to just throw away when I was out hunting animals just to clear up bag slots. But they have made them a little bit more useful. So they've always been useful a little bit for making the sewing needles, but now you can actually make glue in leatherworking from them. So they have a lot more use. The glue was always hard to make because you had to get them from the hooves, which were hard to get. But now there's at least another recipe to make that glue. All right, so we get the deer flank meat, we got the deer neck meat, we got suet also from the butchering. Now, this is a great change in my book because suet was always hard to get. You could only get it from deer before, and you only got like one, maybe two if you were lucky from a given deer. So you'd have to be out killing deer forever just to get enough suet to make tallow for leveling up your cooking or baking or something like that. Now you get 4 for every deer carcass you butcher. So you can build up quite a stockpile of suet, which is a welcome addition in my mind. Now let's move on to the boars. Now let's see, the nearest one, I mean, I have a boar that's sort of very hard. It's not likely going to complete. But the next one down is this parted boar, so let's do that. Now, For the boars, once again, we get bone fragments. And you'll notice we got a little bit less bone fragments. We only got 8 because that's a lower level of the skill, of the craft. But we also got animal fat. That's how we're going to get animal fat now, is from butchering the boars. Now, of course, the animal fat and the suet are necessary components for cooking. Let's go on to the goat. So we go ahead and hopefully this completes. Yeah, okay. We got actual goat meat. So we got goat shank meat, and we got suet from that as well. So this is what is that? This is a level 3. We only got 2 suet though. Not as good as the deer butchering, but then again, that was a well-parted deer that gave us the 4 suet. I think the parted one is, let's see, well-parted. Actually, that's weird. Poorly parted. Some of the stuff I don't get, like how is parted a lower level than poorly parted? And then poorly parted seems to give 2 meats, while the parted gives 1. I think they still are a little weird with this whole progression, but the new patch is a step in the right direction, I feel. So there were a number of other small changes as well, like things now stack up. Oh yeah. So meat chunks before would also not only clog up your bags, but they would clog up your inventory as well. But now they stack up to 100. So that's great. And all of the meat products stack up to 20, whereas before I think it was only to 10. There were some slight changes to a couple of crafting recipes to make the progression a little bit easier as well. A couple in blacksmithing, I think. But all in all, I'm fairly happy with the patch, except for the fact that the enemies have gotten a little bit of a lobotomy to, and a superpower of teleportation. Hopefully they address that fairly quickly. I know a lot of people are pretty upset about it. But anyway, that's an update for Pax Day, 1 month in. Are you still subscribed? Are you thinking about it? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, and let me know if you want to keep seeing these Pax Day videos. Or do you want to see more Enshrouded, which I have started showing because they did release a big patch for that as well. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time.